Hello, in this video you're going to learn some tricks that could help you solve equations involving fractions. Trick number 1. If you have a fraction equals to another fraction, then you can simply solve this kind of equations using cross multiplication. That is, you multiply a by d, and then this is going to be equal to BC. AD equals to BC. And then of course you can continue working on the equation using algebra. Let's look at example number 1. In example number 1, we have a fraction equals to another fraction. So trick number 1 should apply. We can cross multiply to solve this kind of problem. So can you take a few seconds and think about the output of cross multiplication in this example? Let's cross multiply. This multiplied by this is equal to this multiplied by this. So 4 multiplied by n plus 1. This should be equal to 3 multiplied by 3, which is 9. Now you can see here that we got rid of the fractions. The next step is to multiply the 4 by the bracket. So let's multiply it inside. This would give us 4n plus 4 equals to 9. Now we can see the only variable here is the n. The others are just numbers. So I'll just bring the numbers all together on the right hand side and leave the n on the left hand side. This goes to the other side using the inverse, the opposite sign, which is -4. So we are going to have 4n equals to 9 minus 4. 4n is equal to 5. Now still we have a 4 with the n. 4 is multiplied by the n. So to get rid of this 4, which is multiplied by n, we have to use the inverse operation of multiplication, which is division. So we have to divide both sides by 4. 4 cancels out, and then we're left with n equals to 5 over 4. Let's go for another example. In this example as well, we have a fraction equals to another fraction. So trick number 1 should apply as well. So here as well, I want you to take a few seconds and think about the result of the cross multiplication for this example. Cross multiplying would give us, we're going to multiply this by this. So we have 6 multiplied by 2x minus 1. This is equal to 3 multiplied by 5x minus 1. Now we can see here that we got rid of the fractions. Now we have a number multiplied by a bracket on each side. We're going to multiply the number inside the bracket. So this is going to give us 6 times 2x, which is 12x. 6 multiplied by -1, this is -6. We do the same thing on the other side. So we have 3 multiplied by the 2 terms inside the bracket. That would give us 15x minus 3. Now we can see here that we have like terms, which are the x's. So we're going to bring them together. And we have numbers, which we will bring together on one side. So I'm going to keep the x's on the right hand side and the numbers on the left hand side. So according to this, I'll bring the 12x over to the other side as -12x, and I will bring the -3 over to the other side as +3. So on the right hand side, I used to have the 15x, and I'm bringing the -12x here. On the left hand side, I have the -6, and I'm bringing the -3 as +3. So this will give us negative 6 plus 3, that is negative 3, equals 15x minus 12x, that is 3x. Again here, I've got a 3 multiplied by the x. To get rid of it, I have to divide by 3. 3 is cancelled out, and from here, I get the value of x as negative 3 over 3, which is negative 1. How about if I have this kind of questions? We've got here a fraction plus another fraction equals to a number or to our fraction. But you can see that the difference between this example and the previous two examples is that here we've got addition of a fractions. So how do we add two fractions, or how do we subtract two fractions? Well, there are so many ways, but in the next track, we're going to be talking about how to add or subtract fractions using cross multiplication. So here's rule number 2, or trick number 2. I've got a fraction and it's added or subtracted from another fraction. How do we do this using cross multiplication? Well, I'm going to cross multiply this by this, and then you have to keep the sign. So this is going to be plus this by this. And then the last step, don't forget to divide by the product of the two denominators, that is b multiplied by d. So let's write this down. So a multiplied by d, that is ad. And then we've got plus is the sign. B multiplied by c. And this is divided by the product of the two denominators, which is bd. So that is the next trick. It's easy peasy. All you've got to do is to cross multiply, and then don't forget to divide by the multiplication or the product of the two denominators. Let's apply it to example number 3. So here we've got addition of two fractions. We said we're going to be using this trick. So what do we have to do? First of all, I have to multiply this by this, and then multiply this by this with the addition between them. And then the last thing is that not to forget to divide by the product of the two denominators. So 1 multiplied by x plus 5, that is x plus 5, plus 3 multiplied by 2x, that is 6x. And now, not to forget to divide by the product of the two denominators. We've got 2x multiplied by x plus 5. So 2x multiplied by x plus 5. I'm done with the addition of the two fractions. Now we just continue copying the rest of the equation. So this is equal to 2. Now looking at the numerator, you can see here that I've got an x here, and there is a 6x here. I can add them up. This is going to give me 7x. And then we have plus 5, so I just copy that. Division. Here we've got a term 2x that we can multiply into the bracket, so let's do it. This is going to give me 2x squared multiplied by plus 10x. We're done. Okay, we're done with the part of the addition of the two fractions. And now I just copy the rest, which is equal to 2. Now you can see that I've got a fraction, one fraction, which is this one. It's equal to a number that I can turn into a fraction easily by dividing by 1. So actually here, we've got a fraction equals to a fraction. I can use trick number 1 or rule number 1 to find out the answer to this. So let's do it. We're going to cross multiply. This by this equals to this by this. So can you take a few seconds and work out on the product or the output for the cross multiplication? All right, so let's continue. This is going to give us 7x plus 5 multiplied by 1, this is simply 7x plus 5 equals to 2 multiplied by this term, so 2 multiplied by 2x squared plus 10x. I'll keep this side the same, and I'll multiply the 2 inside the bracket on this side. This is going to give me 4x squared plus 20x. You can see that this is a quadratic equation. Since it has a quadratic term, I can solve this using the calculator using mode 5-3, or you can use it, solve it using other methods like the quadratic equation. So to solve it, I have to put everything on one side, keep the other side equal to 0. So here we've got 4x squared. I only have this term in x squared. Now for this term, 20x, I've got on the other side also a term in x that I kind of bring over with this. So this is going to be 20x minus 7x, which is equal to plus 13x. I also have a number, which is right here. I'll bring it also over to the other side, so that is going to be negative 5 equals to 0. So I bring everything to this side. I keep the other side equal to 0. This is a quadratic equation where I have a equals to 4, b is equal to 13, and c is equal to negative 5. And if you plug all of these numbers into your calculator, or you can use the quadratic formula, you're going to get the values for x. X is going to be equal to negative 3.6, and the other value is going to be positive 0.3. So these are the two values of x that would satisfy this equation. That's it. Thanks for watching. Now, if you want to solve more problems on this, please click on the link below.